This is not fiction. This is documented history. Museums in London, Paris, and Berlin hold objects taken by force. This is the record of what was removed and what remains unreturned.
Benin City, 1897. British soldiers marched in with cannon and fire. Bronze plaques, ivory tusks, royal thrones, taken from the palace, shipped across the water.
Yeah. What was stolen still sits in glass cases. 90,000 African objects held in European museum spaces. The British Museum alone holds over 70,000 African items.
Restitution has been requested.
Return has been delayed for generations. Colonial rule began across the continent in the 1800s. By 1914, 90% of Africa was under European control. Belgium took the Congo, France took West Africa, Britain took Nigeria, Kenya, and Egypt. Germany took Namibia and Tanzania. Resources were extracted: rubber, gold, diamonds, ivory. Millions of Congolese people died under Belgian rule between 1885 and 1908. Education was restricted in many colonies. Literacy was denied to the colonized population. Reading and writing in one's native language was often prohibited in schools built by colonial administrations. Children were taught the language of the colonizer,
not their own history.
Oral history. Once the primary method of record keeping across African societies was dismissed as inferior to written European record keeping, this erased centuries of accumulated knowledge from official record.
Benin City, 1897. British soldiers marched in with cannon and fire. Bronze plaques, ivory tusks, royal thrones, taken from the palace, shipped across the water. What was stolen still sits in glass cases. 90,000 African objects held in European museum spaces. The British Museum alone holds over 70,000 African items.
Restitution has been requested.
Return has been delayed for generations.
In 1960, 17 African nations gained independence in a single year. Independence did not mean return of what was taken. France signed agreements requiring former colonies to deposit reserves into French treasury accounts, a practice that continued for decades after independence.
In 2017, France commissioned a report on restitution of African cultural heritage.
The report recommended returning objects taken without consent during the colonial period.
By 2021, France had returned 26 objects to Benin, a small fraction of what was taken.
Germany returned some Benin Bronzes beginning in 2022.
The Rosetta Stone remains in the British Museum, taken from Egypt in 1799, still without return.
Literacy rates across many African nations were suppressed for generations under colonial education policy, and access to formal schooling for the majority of the population was limited well into the 1950s and 60s.
Read the record, read the treaties, read the ledgers of what was taken and never given back. The right to read was denied. The right to history was denied. Both are being reclaimed.
Every object in every case has a place of origin. Every language suppressed had a script, a tradition, a memory. The record shows dates, numbers, names. The record shows what happened. 90,000 objects, 70 years of independence. One ongoing request: return what was taken and restore what was denied. This is the history. The rest is being written now. Yeah, no, 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 no. Benin City, 1897. British soldiers marched in with cannon on fire. Bronze plaques, ivory tossed, royal thrones taken from the palace, shipped across the water.
What was stolen still sits in glass cases,
90,000 African objects
held in European museum spaces.
The British Museum alone
Holds over 70,000 African items.
Restitution has been requested.
Return has been delayed for generations.
Yeah. The Berlin Conference took place in 1884 and 1885. 14 nations attended. Not one African representative was present. Borders were drawn on a map in the room in Germany, dividing ethnic groups and kingdoms without consultation. Those borders still exist today, more than 100 years later. The Kingdom of Kush, the Mali Empire, the Songhai Empire, and the Kingdom of Axum built systems of governance, trade, and scholarship centuries before European contact. Timbuktu held an estimated 700,000 manuscripts by the 16th century,
covering law, astronomy, medicine, and mathematics.
Many of these manuscripts were scattered, destroyed, or removed during periods of invasion and colonial disruption. The University of Sankore in Timbuktu operated as a center of learning as early as the 12th century. Colonial administrations later downplayed or omitted these institutions from the history taught in schools both in Africa and in Europe. Textbooks used in colonial and post-colonial education systems often began African history with the arrival of Europeans, erasing thousands of years of prior development. This omission shaped generations of understanding,
both within Africa and outside it.
The transatlantic slave trade forcibly transported an estimated 12.5 million Africans between the 15th and 19th centuries. Approximately 2 million people died during the crossing known as the Middle Passage. Labor, knowledge, and cultural practices were forcibly removed alongside human lives. Cotton, sugar, and tobacco industries in the Americas were built on this forced labor. Wealth generated during this period funded institutions, infrastructure, and industry across Europe and the Americas. In 2020, several public institutions and universities began formal investigations into their historical ties to slavery and colonial profit. Some institutions have issued apologies, very few have provided financial restitution. The African Union has repeatedly called for reparations and the return of cultural property since its founding in 2002. UNESCO has supported the return of cultural heritage through conventions signed by member states, though enforcement remains limited.
As of 2024, the majority of documented African artifacts held in Western museums have not been returned.
The conversation around restitution has expanded beyond objects to include archives, human remains, and historical records still held outside the continent. Benin City, 1897. British soldiers marched in with cannon and fire. Bronze plaques, ivory tusks, royal thrones taken from the palace, shipped across the water. What was stolen still sits in glass cases, 90,000 African objects
held in European museum spaces.
The British Museum alone
Holds over 70,000 African items.
Restitution has been requested.
Return has been delayed for generations.